Welcome to Storycomic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. This is episode 440. I'm your host, Barney Smith of Storycomic.com. And we're excited to be welcoming back our good friend of the show, Matthew Wolff, the award-winning writer and author of the internationally acclaimed fantasy series, the Ronin Saga, and the Realmwalker series. Matt, how you doing?
Good to see you. Love it.
I know.
Glad to be back.
I just glad to be, I just know it's actually 441. So for those that are looking at the title thing above, it's actually 441. So I did mess up.
441. It was destiny.
441. See, I noticed you back last time you were on, it was like 181. I think you're on one of my two something though. I think you may be in so it's been a
one was 180.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So okay, it's been oh man. I gotta write more.
You need to write more, man. And
I gotta stay up with it. Not one every two. That's how I'm gonna track my books from now on. Have I written a book within 50 to 100 of Story Comics episodes?
Yeah, see, one of those you got to fit in because it's like usually I try to squeeze in at least 100 a year. So if you can do it within every century mark, then you'll know that you're. And your books are not small. Your books are chunky.
They're chunky. They're hefty. They can be used as weapons. They got some heft to them. They're big.
Yeah, I mean, they're big. Like they're so big. Like you can take you could basically take all the books that you've written, all the hardcovers, stack them on top of each other, and you can paint your ceiling.
Yeah, 100%. You could hide behind it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
you can. A full-grown person. Yeah. In fact, when we go to cons and we sell a whole set now, we used to sell them with a bag. And then a bigger bag and bigger. Now I just give them a trolley. Give them a small red wagon and just say, good luck.
Good luck.
And you can't buy them if you're a child because they're too heavy. So
there's an age limit, not because of the fact that it's purely based off of physical strength. If you're able to lift,
you're too small child. You can only get the novella today. Come back with a stronger individual.
Yes. Bring your older sister or brother to help you with these. Yes,
exactly. Then you can buy it.
And so as you mentioned, so you were talking about book 5.
It's here. It's been too long, but it's awesome. It's good. It's also bigger. So you'll click on that link and it takes you directly to the Kickstarter at any point. And basically the Kickstarter is I think we launched it about 12 days ago. And we're 300%, I think, past funded.
Jeez on crow. Look at so listen, your pledge, your goal was $8,000, and as of this recording, you're at $23,000 already.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Yeah,
I think we should, if we keep this rate, we stretch goal 1 through 4. We're basically making the books way cooler, embossed lettering, sprayed edges. Chapter title art, tons of art, as you can see inside. That's the Great Kingdom of Flesh, where the characters have to go to the next city, one of the 9 elemental cities. This one's City Flesh, based around basically going to this giant coliseum to fight in this grand war, this grand battle. Basically, decide who's the next champion. So the 3 main characters have to kind of get in a little over their head here, jumping around. But basically, that's kind of the premise of this one. And we have 4 stretch goals, and we're getting near to our 5th. So
all right, so remind people, give people a little bit of background on the Ronin Saga.
Yeah. So if you're first new in the series, basically the story is like Knights of the Round Table meets Lord of the Rings with an elemental twist, kind of Avatar. So knights with Avatar power. So its own world, the world of Farhaven. The story's basically revolves around these 3 friends called the Gray, Ava, and Darius, this kind of Harry Potter trio. And their whole life, they've been fascinated by these 9 knights that used to guard the world. The Knight of Wind, guard the City of Wind, Moon, City of Moon, Water, City of Water. If anything happened, these legendary figures would come from their respective cities and kind of as these ambassadors devastate, take out dark armies, replace kings or queens that were kind of unruly or despotic. So they kept the peace, but kind of by the edge of their sword. And now Gray, flash forward about this, they kept the peace for about 1,000 years. And then something happened. Everyone says they turned, they went dark, they snapped and almost broke the world. They were eventually stopped, and now they've become myth and legend. Cities have been rebuilt from the ashes. Now we're in Gray's time. So where book 1 starts, the Knife's Edge. And essentially, they've just become the boogeyman of the world, the kind of the dark legends. Gray doesn't think they're evil, the main character. He has them kind of wrap that he thinks that they have this, like, he thinks history is a way of changing the truth, as it does. And he has to hope they aren't evil because he's going to these taverns and tales, and as these taverns and hearing about the tales of the Ronin. But the shadow's coming back. The 9 nights have returned. Cities are being swallowed in the dead of night. And he walks outside this tavern, and out of the mist steps the Ronin of fire, wreathed in flames, or a moon cloaked in shadows. These storybook characters are real, and he is the next generation of them. So now the journey is him going to these other cities. So book 2 is going to the City of Fire to find the Warrior of Fire. Book 3 is the City of Sun. So the heart of the story, and what I think everyone loves so much, is these really intrepid, fun, dynamic characters that are like kind of like a Harry Potter trio, but a little bit older, who have been entrusted with this new legacy. And they have to kind of prove they're not the fallen legends that their predecessors were. And ultimately, the journey is to go to these great magical cities: City of Water, water raining from heavenward clouds; City of Moon, mooning lighting up the turquoise, this ever-present light that lights up the world. So these grand magical cities to find the next of their kind, and they have to find them. And if the Ronin aren't evil, something else is. So it's this journey to band the Ronin together, the next generation, before it's too late.
Okay. And would you say, like, it's how? I remember you told us last time when we were talking about when you talk about the 4th book, you have a finite number of volumes that you're going to be doing with this series.
Yeah, the plan was 9 elements, so 9 books. So each book revolving around a different element. So book 6, the plan would be going to the City of Stone. Sometimes books take place in multiple cities at the same time. Some of the cities are half destroyed or lost, like the City of Wind. The great city that existed, floating in the clouds, is supposed to be kind of mythical and gone. So, but I'm trying to combine maybe the last 2 or 3. I'm getting some feedback from fans that they're like, no, don't. And the idea would be to just do 7 books, which at that point would put me 2 away from the series finale. And I'm worried about, spoiler just for the story comic, but I'm about a third into book 6 right now because I've been making good pace. So at this pace, I could get close to the finale here soon. But as is the case with most things, once you get to book 7, you probably are like, wait, there's 3 more threads I need to wrap up, and then you cut your tome of a book into a literal, giant ice block, so it becomes this monolith. So 9 planned.
Wow. And so looking at this, you came out with Tides of Fate, came out in 2020. So it's taken you, so it's about 5 years in the making. People have been waiting 5 years for book 4.
Yeah, way too long. Book 5. Yeah. It's been, I can't tell you how many times I'll be at a con, and because like when book 1 to book 2 came out, it was a year, 6 months of writing, 4 months, and I was like, "This is easy. I freaking got this." And it was, book 2 is a really fun book, and it was really quick. I did nothing else, and then book 3 was about 2.5 years, and I was like, "I'm never taking that long again." And I did same exact thing from book 3 to book 4. I got busy. I decided to this is before the books came out on audiobook, and they kind of blew up on audiobook. So I was actually working a side gig and making, kind of side money. And then book 4 came out, and I was like, all right, book 5, you got this. And then same thing happened. So I'm determined on this one to actually just keep that momentum going at 5. Because I'll go to a con now, and like I was saying, I go to the same like 12, San Diego, Chicago, New York, and people will walk by the booth. Half the people will walk by the booth, see that there's a new book, Sky Thief, buy the book, fall in love with it. Like a lot of people were like, come on, dude, where's book 5? I don't want to read a new series. And then they read Sky Thief, and then they're like, all right, dang it, now I'm caught into 2 series, because it's really fun. So it's really, really fun. But I've literally had people, this is kind of funny, walk by the booth, ask for book 5, especially even if it's not from me, from one of my assistants. see there's not there, just keep walking. So we've had like thousands of sales of people just like, yeah, just being like, where is it? So
Right.
getting harassed.
Yeah, because you mentioned you had your Sky Thief series.
Yeah,
that came out, and like as you mentioned, I think that made your diehard fans upset because all of a sudden you started writing something new. Now,
yep.
what are you doing with your Sky Thief fans now? When is that? That's a series too, right?
Yeah, it's series 2, and a lot of people are now like a lot of my beta readers are like, I love, like it's titled in the thing super epic awesome book 5, and a lot of them are
Yeah.
like, it takes that true to the heart. So a lot of my beta readers are like, I read book 5, loved it. Now I want to read book 2, Sky Thief. So it's kind of funny that they're like, I'm like, yeah, but no one else has read it yet, guys. Like I can't. The thing with the lit RPGs is they kind of like are supposed to be very like quick and digestible. You're supposed to do like 4 or 5 of them back to back. And I wrote the second Sky Thief about 50% in, and then I got a call from my narrator, and he was the one that kind of made me switch gears. And he was like, "Hey, look, I have a slot for recording book 5," because he's booked out for years in advance typically.
Right.
Tim Reynolds, and so I was like, he's like, if you can get it to me in 3 months, and I love a pressure deadline. I worked so well under them. I sound sarcastic. I don't sleep a lot and all this stuff, but like, it's the only way I get things done.
Right.
So I did it in 3 months. I wrote basically like 400 or 500 pages. So I made it, I filled the gap for that. And now I'm going back and I'm trying to get book 6 done in the next like 2 to 3 months, same kind of thing. And then the hope is to dive and finish up the other 50% of Sky Thief, because it's a really fun story and it's just quick. And I got a lot of people who are like just that genre. So there's a lot of blend over. There's a lot of people who are like, they read both, but I don't want to lose all the Sky Thief people for all the Ronin Saga and vice versa. So I got 2 balls to kind of jump.
Wow.
Yeah, they're both fun. They're both really fun stories. So
Right. Because I know, looking at what you've done also through your Kickstarter campaigns, that you've always seemed to have always done. You also do a separate Kickstarter just for the audiobook.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a huge audiobook fan base. So yeah, you can see we had a Sky Thief first one, which did really well, and we're like, yeah, ready for a new book. And then we released the audiobook right after that. Because there's just a lot of people who are audiobook. And we have the narrator for Sky Thief is different than Ronin Saga. We have, if anyone who's like a Sanderson fan or Wheel of Time or anything like that, it's the same narrator. It'll be totally up your alley. It's Michael Kramer. He fell in love with one of the main characters in Sky Thief, who is a sentient talking glasses that the main character wears that kind of cheat sheet the world, kind of give him a view of all the characters and levels, kind of show him kind of the game guide of this world, essentially. Right. They also are malfunctioning, so they have an obsession with pancakes. So they're constantly trying to get spun through battery goodness.
Well, hey there. If you're enjoying our podcast, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep this show going. We love hearing from you, so any feedback is welcome. And thank you for being a part of our podcast family and for all your support. It truly means a lot to us. Let's fast forward a bit to after you've written all, what'd you say, 9 books? Is that your plan then for Ronin Saga?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. All right. So let's fast forward in 3 years from now when you write all 9 books. Okay.
Your words are just hitting.
What do you do with the word? You don't. So it's one of those situations where like it's done, it's set up. Some authors will just like dwell on the universes they've created, and other authors will just say, I did it. Now it's time to move on to something new. Where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself making the Ronin Saga a part of Matthew Wolff for the rest of your life, like doing small stories, making it into a role-playing game, trying to get video game? Like, do you see Matthew Wolff synonymous with Ronin Saga, or do you see yourself like, all right, I did Ronin Saga, pushed aside. I got other stories that I want to tell.
God, that's a really good question. I think that like as much as I think the true honest answer is I don't know until I get there because these characters are so dominant in my mind currently that I'm like I could just live in them forever, right?
Mm.
And I could see prequels and I could see sequels, and the story's really done well. Granted, like when I released book one, Sky Thief, it like the way it shot up even more kind of made me fascinated. While I have a much bigger fan base for the Ronin Saga, like releases something new as a book one, it's just a powerful thing because there's a lot of people who like it's book one, it's an easy intro, right? And I can take the fan base I already have and kind of blend them in, and your writing gets better. Like I love book one, you know, it's a fan favorite, but like I'm gonna be honest, every book gets better. And I know that sounds like trite, like everyone's shooting, but like they really do. Like if I was to give my own book a Goodreads review, book one would probably be 4 stars, 3.5 on book one. But like book two, like, you know, my buddy literally actually read I have a lot of friends who read the series, and he, the other day, he's a little neurospicy, admittedly, because he's just very direct and honest. He's like, I read book one. He's like, I gave it 3 out of 5 Goodreads review. I'm like, dude, you're my like good friend. You're not supposed to give it a 3 out of 5. But then he went and he did, and he's like, but dude, Citadel Fire's 5, and Bastion of Sun is 5. Or 4.5, I think he said. And Tides of Fate is 5. So it's like, I know you grow so much as a writer. And so it's so fun to like kind of start a brand new world with that. And to like, because a lot of people who read the Ronin Saga may never get to these really, really epic parts of the saga if they drop it on book one. So to kind of like almost, you know, be reborn again with a kind of like fresh palette is exciting. So I'm kind of hedging on the answer, going back and forth. I think the true answer is I'll only know once I get to like book 8 or book 9 because these characters live so vividly in my mind. But I think if I had to go with a gut answer right here, as much as I love the Ronin Saga and as much as I think that people will, I hope everyone reads Ronin Saga first, no matter what I write, and they get to 3 and 4 and 5 and they just fall in love with it. I think I will write a new series at some point because I love something that I don't know if you know Gendy Tartakovsky. He wrote the Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory and all those, right? And he says something that I just resonates with me so deeply. First he says, well, I think someone else said this, but the biggest thing he says about writing new stuff is he said, when I first wrote, I think it was Dexter's Laboratory first. No, it was Powerpuff Girls first. I wrote Powerpuff Girls first. And everyone's like, write it forever. Write it forever. And he wrote, and he's like, they're like, don't do anything new. He's like, I'm going to write something. They're like, don't do that. And he's like, I'm going to do it anyway. And he wrote Dexter's Laboratory and everyone loved it. And they're like, okay, you struck gold twice. Don't go again. And then he wrote Samurai Jack, I think. He might have wrote something in between that. And super fun series, another great series if anyone's ever in it. It's a cartoon animated show, but so fun. And then people again were like, okay, now you did it. Okay, you got struck gold 3 times. That's it, you know, and just keep writing Samurai Jack episodes and be content. And he was like, you guys, if I listened to you, we would have only ever had one series, you know, and we have all this new world and this new magic because I took a risk. And I think that's a beautiful way to think about it. Like it's scary and it's unknown, and maybe the next one isn't gold. But I think sometimes you have to try. And not to say that you're not getting new material out there with the same series. But you have to kind of lead where your heart's going. And so all that said is I think I'd love to try a new series at some point. But if I hit some crazy groove in book 9, we might get 3 or 4 or 5 more out there. So
right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like other people say is like if you're a fan of like a musician or a band, sometimes they put out bad albums, but you still you like it all. You know, it's like you say, it's like, but I mean, everybody, you know, they always mention the fact that like but they're happy that they came out with it, and they're saying, like you said, it's taking the chance. You never know you never know what you never know if you're gonna succeed or fail without trying. And so you can't be
Totally.
the fear. Yeah, the fear of it can't stop you from doing it. So
And the artist analogy is so perfect because in an artist, like if you try a new style, a new brand, they're like, don't try a new style, don't try a new brand. Sure, okay, maybe they tried something that didn't work, but maybe it did work. But if they try to listen to just what other people say, like if you try to create the same tone, the same music, the same rhythm, but you don't have the same feel behind it,
right,
then I think the same thing. Like if I was to write, if my heart says write a book 10 Ronin Saga, boom, I bet it's going to be awesome. But if I'm like, everyone says I should write a book 10 Saga, it's probably going to be a dud, because you're not writing from your heart. Same thing with a musician. Like you're not actually writing, you're like, so I think it sounds kind of like a, cat poster or a, cheesy bumper sticker, but I think you write what's in your heart and then you kind of see where it goes.
right. And I just looked it up too. I think wasn't he also the one that did Foster's
Oh yeah.
Home for Imaginary Friends?
Yeah. Yeah. He did that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like, and then and the cool thing is when you try different genres too, like I've gotten all these different fans from the Sky Thief is a lit RPG series. So it's fantasy meets basically kind of a video game kind of world where you rank up and level up and stuff. So I've gotten all these, I've grown as an author trying a different series or a different genre, but I've also gotten all these different fans that like would never have read mine if they hadn't tried that different series. Also lit RPG is cool because they like, I don't know. It's kind of fun having a character like you. I love the underdog thing. Like Gray and the main characters in the Ronin Saga, they get stronger. It's very clear, right? But there's nothing more clear as a character who starts at a literal. He starts as an unranked in the series, and he goes to a copper and a silver and a bronze, and his body literally transforms. He literally at one point of the series, when he goes through a kind of transition, he like all the toxins in his body gets purged and he vomits and he like literally like his muscles like, so it's fun to watch as a kid, like this kind of a little bit of a power fantasy and this super underdog who gets trampled on rise to potentially more of a god at some point.
Looking at the fact that your books have come out, and how can somebody listen to the audiobooks or get the books now? Because they were backed on Kickstarter. And if somebody wants to listen to the Sky Thief or listen to Tides of Fate, is that available anywhere?
Audible's the best way, honestly, for listening. I do deals at like the cons where I give them the direct audio files, but Audible, we're top 5 on Audible. We've sold 300,000 copies on Audible alone. 5,000 5-stars. Like honestly, I just 90% of what I do is on Audible. But the Kickstarter, if anybody is a physical version of a person, so go to Audible if you're a physical person, just type in Matthew Wolf. This is how I type apparently. I'm a cat in a human's body. But the best way is if you want a physical version right now is either my website's good, but the Kickstarter is awesome. You get tons of cool, unique rewards. We're actually doing a thing now. It's going to be a Kickstarter only, where you're going to get everyone loves the gilded edges, but they're going to be metallic red edges with a unique cover just for the Kickstarter. So when it's gone, it's kind of gone. And it's got the cool heart, the Chamber of Flesh cover, and tons of full color illustrated art inside, chapter title art, just tons of things, metal bookmarks, elemental pins. So like I'm trying to like give back to readers a lot of it's just really unique. And if you just want to start with book 1 too, Kickstarter is a great place. But otherwise, if you're an Audible listener, you can either wait for the next Audible or Kickstarter, or you just dive into on audible.com, type in Matthew Wolf.
So for our listeners who can't, like, I gotta say, so it's really fun. Every time you've been on, Matt, you've had a different background, and it's always, and the colors are always different, but it always seems like an author's background, no matter what it is. Do you have it set up like that? I remember one time you were on, you had like some sort of, it was like a Japanese, I can't remember, it was like a Japanese thing in the background, wasn't there?
I definitely done. I think I might have had the wave painting at one point. I've had my all of my like art and style is like a very author like
minimalist. Yes. Yeah.
Very. Yeah. If you guys see, it's very that's my zen of writing. That's my little writing zone. My home, I think I did like a wood accent wall at some point. I think during one of our ones. But I like the very clean, because my mind is so cluttered with characters. I have to keep my world clean.
Exactly. So Matt, if people want to learn more about you and your work, where's the best place they could go to?
So mattwolfauthor.com, and the first thing there you'll see, if you want to check out the Kickstarter, it'll just have a link to click the Kickstarter. So that's a perfect way. If you want to get signed books on the website too, that's great. They're actually the same. I think there's just a few difference in like a $4 or $5 difference in price between Amazon, but you get them signed. So, and also it supports me more if you go. And then the Kickstarter is super exciting. We're about to be stretch goal number 5, which is going to be trading cards. And the next stretch goal after that is going to be a short story, and everyone who backs gets to be a part of it.
17, as of this recording, 17 days. So to make this, so as we said, Matthew, to make this an evergreen episode as well, say someone's listening to this 2 years from now, they can go to your website, MatthewWolf.com. MatthewWolfAuthor.com.
Yeah, Matthew Wolf Author or Matt Wolf Author.
Yeah, MatthWolfAuthor.com. And they'll be able to click on the link and go straight there. And and I'm going to say, Matt, you go to your Amazon page, you go to your Goodreads page, you have hundreds of reviews on your books.
Thanks, sir. I know. Yeah, it's been pretty awesome to watch it.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are
So what's the age range for your books, would you say?
So our main characters are about 18, 19, 20. So it's older than Harry Potter, younger than Game of Thrones. I mean, I typically everyone's like, what's your demographic? It's so crazy because I don't really I'm 39, so it's up my alley. But I'd say it's pretty much anyone who likes, I think if you're like a Sanderson, Wheel of Time, Patrick Rothfuss, Dragonlance, like that's you're right at home there. Right. But I have readers who, because it's appropriate, we use curse words and things like that, but they're all fantasy, dice and 7 hells, like that.
Yeah.
Some of my youngest readers are 8 or 9. So,
okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of nice range. It's I get to kind of get both spectrums. So
yeah. So you're not saying, so it's not graphic violence, though, like you say, like a 10-year-old could read it easily.
10-year-old could read it. Yeah, if they've read like Percy Jackson or anything like that. The only thing is, as the series progresses, there's a little bit of violence, so they have to be okay with that. But there's no nudity, no sexuality. There's a little bit of fade to black in the last book. It's a little spicy. So if you guys, if there are some Fourth Wing people, I am upping it slightly, but it's still very appropriate. I had someone reach out the other day. I love that these books are family friendly. I'm like, this one is too, but I'm also trying to pull in all the romantasy readers too. So most of my readers are aged with the characters. Some have started at 8 or 9, and now it's 9 years later. So they're 18, 19, 20. So there's deeper themes, and there's more complex, and there's more moral quandaries, and shades of gray.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Matt. It's you know what, you got to do this more often.
I should do this. I love this. This is like all of a sudden I like. You're always the first person I think of, and then I'm like, I should probably do. I should do this more. And then it falls into the back of my mind. I'm gonna. My new plan is, though, because you already established it, 3 years, rest of the book.
Yeah. See.
Every 50 episodes, I'm gonna be coming on.
You're gonna be coming on. It's like, I got another 600-page book. I'm giving. Yep. Hauling out. There you go. Cool. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you, Barney. You're the best. It's always so fun.
We were just talking for. All right, so we talked for 20 minutes. I didn't even hit record button at that point. See,
it's too much fun,
I know. See, this is what happens when you know someone for 4 years. See, Matt. See,
you forget. You're just like, wait, let's just catch up. Well, there's all the off-record stuff that we got in there. It's all the
See,
it's all the secret sauce.
That was secret. Yeah, see, like nobody's going to be able to see all those secret, amazing stuff we talked about. They're just going to miss it.
They're going to want to know, but off camera.
You can't. Yeah, see, they missed it. See, yeah. Oh well, what are you going to do? Let me get
book
that. Yeah,